Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to the video on the channel. First of all, any support, likes and subscribes, greatly appreciated, really help the channel out a lot. And let's get into it. So, what a week. Last weekend now, up 2 million places, and he finally did it. Son, he finally did it. Let's just get the team up now and just show you everyone there. So I decided against the wild card, but I did use both transfers and I took out Trent and Archer, bringing in Trippier and Mitrovic. So Fulham, one of my favourite teams, so I thought I could finally enjoy Mitrovic scoring in FPL as well as real life. But despite Fulham scoring three, there were no involvements from Mitrovic and Andreas, which got the week off to a slow start. You know, as the game was on Friday night, Williams and Henderson also didn't contribute in that game either. So from there, it looked to be a disaster weekend. So I'll just set the scene from what I was thinking at the time. Haaland had scored for Man City again, and I was sitting about 4 millionth place, and Trippier just lost the clean sheet at home to Bournemouth. And I found out Son was on the bench. He was my captain, and Mitrovic was the vice captain. So honestly, at the time, it just made me feel like the season was over already. You know, after a few game weeks, as the game weeks move on, gaps in points naturally become bigger. At the start of the season, we sort of talk about, there's not that much difference in points between players and the top. But really, as the season goes on, you kind of need to maintain that gap or at least try and reduce it in order to not get caught out too far adrift. So I just thought the whole weekend was just going to be a huge blow to my rank as I didn't really have any backups on my own bench. But just as hope is lost, there were signs of life in my floundering team, and this should hopefully be a story to everyone out there that's struggling with FPL at the moment. The same can also happen to you. So it started when Cancelo got a clean sheet, and somehow he also got 3 bonus points despite not getting a goal or an assist. Maybe even more importantly, Haaland didn't get any bonus points either. So that's a nice swing in points there against everyone that owned Haaland, um, which is pretty much the rest of FPL, to be fair, at this stage. And Trippier saved some points as well because he got an assist. That cross, it got handballed and it led to the penalty which they scored from. So it took his total to 5. Meanwhile, in the Spurs game later on, it was goals galore between them and Leicester. Kane and Kulusevski both contributed, but what a difference 31 minutes makes. I've been banging on about Son for weeks, and like most of my team this season, he's been playing well, but unlucky in terms of point scoring for FPL. Well, last week he paid it back big time, absolutely transforming my score. Thankfully, put the armband on him as well. And I think by the end of Saturday, I'd actually shot up to a 50k game week rank. From there, we were on a roll. On Sunday in the Arsenal game, Ben White got a clean sheet, Jesus scored, and Saka also got 2 assists for Arsenal. Saka, to me, must be the least hyped FBL player of the season. He's got 6 attacking returns in 7 games, yet everyone jumped on Martinelli, because he scored early on. But for me, Saka is a much better long-term option. So a final game week score of 81, a game week rank of 117k, and an overall rank rise of 2 million transformed a poor start, really kick-started the season through one historic game week. So don't worry if it hasn't happened to you. You just got to stick with it. It will happen. Sometimes you just feel like it's not going your way, but if you've made your judgments and you've looked at the players and you've thought about it carefully, trust yourselves. There's still time to turn it around. I've still got work to do, but this last game week definitely helped. So moving on to the fixtures, and what we've got is a Saturday deadline and a couple of big games, especially Arsenal, Spurs, and Man City, Man United. In terms of captaincy, I think if you wanted to captain a Liverpool player, if you still had Liverpool players, someone like Salah, I think that's a great shout. I wouldn't be against captaining a Spurs attacker like Kane or Son. Arsenal didn't do very well against Man United most recently when they played the last sort of big team. And, you could say the same for Man City. If you wanted to captain Haaland, I definitely don't see that as a bad choice. I think despite the tough fixtures on paper historically, these teams, I think there's a good chance that they return still. I think you could also look at Tony away at Bournemouth, being in good form, coming back from an England, with the England camp. Bournemouth not great. So I think there's a chance for Brentford to score there as well. There's quite a few captaincy options out there this week if you're looking for them. So onto my team for this game week, and I'm kind of stuck to be honest. I still have a wild card, and the plan was always to use it over the international break. But I look at my team, and it doesn't look too bad. So I'm going to start at the back, and I've got Henderson in goal. And although Forest aren't playing well, I don't see the value in taking him out, especially with Leicester up next. We'll go into the defence, and I've just got in Trippier, so he would stay. He's got that constant attacking threat and set piece threat as well. And although Cancelo has Man United and Liverpool in the next three and then a blank, I do think maybe he has got that potential to still score points. And, in Liverpool and Man United, we've just said they're not exactly playing really well. So there is also the potential for clean sheets for Man City in there. If I was to use a wild card, it would probably be to take out Arsenal players. Even someone like Jesus with their poor fixtures and a blank in 12. And the same applies for Ben White. Whilst he's still 4.5, 4.6 million, he's not got the best fixtures coming up, and it will start straining the bench rotation a little bit for my squad if a lot of these players don't have games that I'm really liking in the immediate future. I'd also like to keep Fafana though for the price and the possible Chelsea turnaround now they've got the new manager. They've got Palace, Wolves, and Villa in the next three. So in midfield, I don't really see the need to take out Son just yet. He may be about to hit form consistently. Saka we've already talked about his returns, and while Salah hasn't been performing, Liverpool have had an extended break. I don't think they've played in the league in about a month, to be honest, and they potentially play a vulnerable Brighton side next with the change in manager and potential loss of momentum for them. Up front, I've decided to go with Mitrovic. I've just got him in again, just like Trippier, and he has great fixtures, which is why I got him in. They're good all the way up to game week 15. Tony's in form with good fixtures. We just spoke about Bournemouth immediately. And whilst I'm not overly sure on Jesus and his four bookings in his last five game weeks, which is something you might want to keep an eye on as a Jesus owner out there, he has still got 4 goals in 7 games and he is reasonably priced. On the bench, I've got Ward, Harrison, Andreas, and Williams. Ward could feasibly start for me this week instead of Henderson as they play each other. Harrison hasn't returned for me yet, and I've had him for 3 game weeks total. And Andreas and Williams, like Henderson, they're great value, so they come in as needed, and they're kind of holding their own in terms of point scoring. So Harrison could be on the team chopping block there. But my other option in terms of wildcarding is to wildcard in game week 12. Maybe before then, maybe a week before then, just to prepare for it, because there's a few teams with blanks in that game week, and I could really target between game week 12 and game week 16, those 4 weeks before the World Cup. It's important to remember that you actually get another wild card in the World Cup as well. So it's kind of like if I was to wild card in game week 12, it's like a 4 week free hit in my eyes. You can just pick whatever players you want from the teams that you want and isolate those 4 weeks and just really go for it, knowing at the end you could potentially just, run your team into the ground. It didn't really matter what happens after game week 16 because you've got that free wild card that I think you have to use during the World Cup as well. So let me know what you think. I quite like the idea of a 4 week free hit team if I package it like that in my mind. Um, Thank you very much for all the support. Please like and subscribe if you're new around here, and I will see you in the next one.